Her phone vibrated while she was watching TV. A small notification appeared on the screen. AirDrop request. She frowned. The sender name said, Unknown iPhone. She looked around the apartment. No one else was there. She lived alone. Usually, AirDrop requests only came from people nearby, like in a cafe or an airport. But she was sitting alone in her living room, at home. She ignored the request and locked her phone. A few seconds later, the phone vibrated again. Another AirDrop notification. Same sender. Unknown iPhone. This time, the file name was different. img_4822.jpg. Her stomach tightened. Whoever sent it was still nearby, close enough for AirDrop to work, which usually meant within 10 meters. She slowly stood up and walked toward the window. Maybe someone outside the building was sending it from the street. But when she looked down, the street below was empty. Her phone buzzed again. Another AirDrop request appeared. Same sender, same sender. She hesitated for a moment. Then she tapped accept. The image downloaded instantly. She opened the photo, and her heart skipped because the picture showed her apartment door from the hallway outside. She stared at the photo. It was clearly taken in the hallway outside her apartment. The angle showed her door, her apartment number, even the small welcome mat she kept outside. Her chest tightened. The picture looked recent, very recent. The hallway lights in the photo were on, and the door looked exactly the same as it did right now. Closed, locked. Her eyes slowly lifted from the phone toward the real apartment door across the living room. It was still shut, still quiet. No knocking, no footsteps, nothing. Her phone buzzed again. Another AirDrop request appeared. Same sender, same sender. This time, the file name was different. img_4823.jpg. Her stomach twisted, which meant the person had taken another photo after the first one. She hesitated, but curiosity got the better of her. She tapped accept again. The second image opened. Her breath caught. It was the same hallway, same door, but the camera was closer now, just a few steps away from her apartment. The picture looked like it had been taken right in front of her door. Her phone vibrated again. Another AirDrop request appeared. img_4824.jpg. Her hands felt cold, because if the photos were getting closer each time, then whoever was sending them was walking toward her door. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Another request. img_4823.jpg. For a moment, she thought about ignoring it, but the silence in the apartment made the curiosity worse. She tapped accept. The photo opened, and her stomach dropped instantly. The picture wasn't taken from the hallway anymore. It was taken right in front of her door, so close that the camera had captured the door handle, the metal lock, even the tiny scratch near the frame that only she usually noticed. Whoever took the photo was standing directly outside her apartment. Her eyes lifted slowly toward the real door across the room, still closed, still quiet. No shadow under it, no movement. Her heart pounded. Her phone vibrated again. Another AirDrop request appeared. img_4825.jpg. She hesitated longer this time, but eventually she tapped accept again. The image loaded, and for a second she didn't understand what she was seeing. The photo was blurry, dark, like the camera had moved quickly. Then her eyes adjusted, and she realized something terrifying. The photo wasn't taken in the hallway. It was taken inside her apartment. The picture showed her living room, the couch, the lamp, the TV on the wall, the exact room she was standing in. Her chest tightened because she hadn't heard the door open and she hadn't heard anyone come inside. Yet somehow, someone had just taken a photo from inside her home. Her phone buzzed again. Another AirDrop request appeared. This time, the file name was different. Not numbers, just 3 words. Look behind you. Her fingers froze on the screen. Look behind you. The words stared back at her. Her heart started pounding so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Slowly, very slowly, she lifted her eyes from the phone. The living room around her was completely silent. The couch, the TV, the lamp beside the wall. Nothing moved. For a moment, she convinced herself it had to be a prank. Someone in the hallway sending creepy pictures, trying to scare whoever lived in the apartment. But her phone vibrated again. Another AirDrop request appeared. This time, the file name was img4826.jpg. Her hands were shaking now, but she tapped accept anyway. The image loaded, and her breath caught in her throat. It was another photo of her living room, but this time the angle was different. The camera was positioned near the hallway entrance, pointed toward the couch, toward the exact spot where she had been standing just seconds ago. The room in the photo looked empty because she had moved closer to the door while checking the previous images. Her heart raced. That meant the person taking the photos wasn't standing in front of her anymore. They were somewhere else inside the apartment. Her phone buzzed again. Another AirDrop request appeared. This time, the file name was img4827.jpg. She opened it. The photo was darker than the others, taken from farther away, from the hallway leading to her bedroom. The camera was aimed toward the living room, and in the middle of the frame, standing near the front door, was her back to the camera, holding her phone, exactly the way she was right now. She felt the air leave her lungs. The photo on her phone clearly showed her standing near the front door. Phone in her hand, back turned to the camera, exactly like she was right now. Her heart pounded as she slowly turned around. The hallway behind her was empty. The bedroom door was open, but no one was there. No footsteps, no sound, nothing. Her phone vibrated again. Another AirDrop request appeared. This time, the file name wasn't a number. It simply said, "Last one." Her hands felt cold as she tapped accept. The image loaded slowly. For a second, the screen stayed black. Then the picture appeared, and her stomach dropped. It was the same living room again, same angle, same lighting, but now the camera was positioned much closer, right behind where she had been standing, like whoever took the photo had been standing only a few steps away from her. But something else in the photo made her blood run cold. In the reflection of the TV screen, she could see the person holding the camera. Except the reflection wasn't a stranger. It was her own phone, propped up on the shelf behind the couch, camera pointing toward the living room. Her mind raced. She slowly looked toward the shelf, and there it was, her old phone, the one she had replaced last month, still sitting there, screen glowing faintly. The camera light was on, recording. Then her current phone vibrated one last time. Another AirDrop request appeared. This time, the file name was different. Not a photo, just a short message. She opened it. 3 words appeared on the screen. "Forgot this here." Her heart dropped because the message wasn't sent automatically. Someone had typed it. Her mind raced. Then she remembered something. Earlier that evening, a maintenance worker had come to check the smoke detector in her apartment. He had only stayed for a few minutes, standing right there in the living room, near the couch, near the shelf. Her stomach twisted, because that was the perfect place to leave a phone behind. Hidden, recording, close enough to connect with AirDrop later from the hallway. She grabbed the old phone and turned it off immediately. The screen went black, the AirDrop request stopped, and the apartment finally became quiet again. But the next morning, when she checked the building hallway camera, at 10:12 p.m., just after the maintenance worker left her apartment, he stopped outside her door, looked down at his phone, and smiled, which meant the photos she received that night hadn't been taken by someone breaking in. They had been taken by a phone someone had already left inside her apartment.